Here is a workout that you can do in as little as 30 minutes only twice a week and uses just dumbbells and a doorway pull-up bar. So let's take a look. And quickly before we begin, this workout is focused on doing one set to positive failure. You can do a second if you feel like you need to, but remember it's only to one set and you're going to want to push it all the way to where you can't do the concentric phase anymore. So with that, our first of the 10 exercises in this workout program is going to be the squat. For this, I moved the dumbbells down by my sides. I used to have them up in front of me, but found my arms tired too quickly at the heavier weights to hold them there. So I keep them at my sides. Just make sure you're going more into a squat position and not down into a deadlift. Exercise number 2 is the stiff leg deadlift. So this one is similar to a Romanian deadlift, as you do keep your legs pretty much straight the entire time, maybe a slight bend in the knee, and then you're going to push your hips back and lower down to the ground. Make sure you're trying to keep your back as flat as you can throughout the entire thing and be pushing through the base of your feet to stand back up, not pulling with your back. Moving on, we're going to be going down to the floor to hit our chest with the bench press. However, we're not using a bench, I'm just using dumbbells in this case, and we're just gonna lay on the floor and do it that way. For this exercise, your arms should come down so that your triceps and elbows just barely graze the floor itself. You don't want them laying flat on the floor, you want them just above it so there's still tension in the muscle the entire time. And then you're going to want to go through the contraction phase by squeezing your chest and pushing back towards the top of the movement. The next exercise will target the back with the bent over rows. So from the floor position, we need to stand up, get into the proper position by standing first and then bending at the waist, so that we're kind of almost parallel with the ground in order to get into that position and then pull with our arms. There's no bench or anything here. We're just standing and doing regular bent over rows. Next up, we have the overhead press. So this one does target the shoulders and can be kind of tricky to get into. So for this one, we're going to want to get into that standing position with the dumbbell by our sides and kind of use momentum to get them up by our shoulders. However, if you're using really heavy weight, you might want to do something like just kneel on the floor, because getting the dumbbells up into position can injure you if you don't control them properly. So make sure you pick the proper weight for you in this workout. And now we're on to our 6th exercise. This one we're moving to our door. So I'm going to be taking out those handles. If you have something else to do pull-ups on, you can use that, but I'm going to be using the cross grips to do regular pull-ups. Now I personally like to use the neutral grip for this, but you can use any one that you like to use and it won't really matter, as we're going to be hitting the lats more with this movement. Just make sure whichever one you pick, you do it properly. And note, if you can't do pull-ups, you could also do high rows, so you get more into that bent over row position and then pull into a high row instead. But I like to do pull-ups, and also if you can't do it, you could just put a chair under you and use your feet to assist getting back to the contracted position. So those first 6 exercises were the compound movements. Now we're going to move on to more isolation exercises, where the first one we're starting off with is targeting the triceps by doing skull crushers. We're going back to the floor and laying flat on it, where then we're going to put our arms up over our head. So you actually want your elbows really like up by your ears, maybe slightly behind your head. Keep them fixed in that position and then use only your tricep to try to push the dumbbells up towards the ceiling and then slowly lower them back to the floor. Again, just before touching the floor if you can, and then push back up to activate the triceps and get them bigger and stronger. So next up, we're moving to every guy's favorite exercise, the standing biceps curls. So what I like to do is have them actually supinated or palm facing up towards your face. And then from there, we're going to just be contracting the biceps to bring them as high as we can while still keeping tension on the biceps. Don't go too far up or you'll lose all the tension, and don't completely lower it to remove all the tension as well. Always make sure there's some kind of tension or force placed on the muscle while doing this exercise. So the next exercise might be your last one if you want to end it here and not do the abs, but for this we're going to be doing calf raises. So I do this in standing position where I have the dumbbells at my side and I just push through my feet to get my heels off of the ground while contracting my calves as best I can. For this, you can simply just do it on a flat surface. You don't have to be on the edge of something. You don't get that full stretch, but you're still going to get great activation in the calves themselves by keeping tension on them throughout and pushing through your feet to get the heels off of the floor. Again, I like to actually go just before my heels touch the floor again, then go back into the contracted position to get them off the ground as high as I can and repeat as needed. And on to our final exercise, which is optional, and we're going to be doing crunches. Now feel free to do this without weight if you want, but all you need to do is get your shoulder blades up off the floor. You do not need to go into a full setup position, as this actually removes most of the tension from your abs and makes them more towards like your legs and hip flexors. So we just want to use our core to get our shoulder blades off the floor, and that is it. And then slowly lower back to the ground. You don't have to fully lay on the ground either. You can keep just off of the floor and then continue from there, making sure to roll the spine each time and contract the abs with each rep. So that is all 10 exercises. Remember, this is one set to positive failure, which means you can't do another rep through the concentric or shortening of the muscle phase. So basically a bicep curl, this will be where you're raising the weight, would be the concentric phase. When you get to a point where you're trying to raise it but you get stuck and you hold it for maybe a second or two, that is where your set would end. However, I do recommend going for a second set after about 15 to 30 seconds because most people won't reach actual failure doing it this way unless you have someone with you pushing you through that, because mentally it's going to be hard by yourself to do this. So unless you have a partner with you, I recommend doing a second set and doing the same thing to failure. So in my workouts, I like to focus on reps between 5 and 15. What I do is when I start off, I pick a weight where I'm closer to that 5 rep range. So I'll do maybe 5 in my first workout, and then my next workout, I'm trying to get 6 reps with the same weight as the previous workout. So basically we're working way up over time. So the next workout after that would be, if I hit the 6, try and do it 7 or more. You're just trying to do that in order to progress. Once I get to 15, that's where I raise the weight again so that it lowers me back down to around that 5, maybe a little bit more rep range. I just keep working my way up using progressive overload and getting stronger. You do this because you want to keep your workouts rather short. If you just kept adding on more reps forever, your workouts would eventually just be very long, even if you're going to failure. So that's why you're trying to just add on more resistance, so that way you can put enough stimulus on the muscle while still keeping your workouts relatively short. And now for workouts in the week, I like to do this twice because again, you're going to failure, so you need more rest and recovery after each one. So personally for me, my schedule goes as follows. I work a 40-hour per week job, just a normal 9 to 5. So what I like to do is I work out Monday and Thursday. So I do Monday is just the same workout as Thursday, but it gives me enough rest period in between so that I can recover and rebuild before doing the next one. If you're just doing it every single day, you're not giving your body enough time to recover fully from the previous workout to really get anything out of it in the long run. You're just constantly breaking down versus getting your body to recover and get stronger, so the next time your workout is even better. But make sure you fit this into your schedule where you see fit. I do recommend at least 2 days after each one of these, as long as you properly go to failure, whether that be in one set or adding an additional set to make sure you reach that failure point. So try this workout out, and if you want to see a very, very similar one to this, but might have some small differences, check out this video on screen. But with that, remember to be fit and game on.